so much corruption. There's so much going on that, and thankfully we have Bitcoin, because it is, to me, our only exit strategy. There's nothing else. We need Bitcoin. You need Bitcoin. Your grandma needs Bitcoin. Your aunt needs Bitcoin. Everybody needs it, right? And it is running out at a rapid rate.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. I just thought about this idea of writing stories on an average family in two situations. You probably know the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and like showing people how an average family can benefit or being at a major disadvantage whether they adopt Bitcoin or not. And I think we kind of need to paint those pictures, because a lot of people need to be aware of the potential for them, what Bitcoin could do, in order for them to care enough, in order for them to say, oh, I'll look deeper into that. That's why I think price is so freaking important. Not for Bitcoiners, but for people that look into it, because it's the gateway drug. It's the thing that gets people through the door. It's like, oh, wait, I said Bitcoin is a scam at 50,000. It's now at 120,000. Okay, now it's going down 100 to 110,000, 100,000. And I'm like, oh, okay, now it's going up to 150,000. Wait, it's 200,000. So I think it wakes people up to the possibility that they might be wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's great. And I think that's something, it's still, I think, the best marketing tool for Bitcoin overall. But then people need to be aware of, okay, what's actually the cost of it not being adopted? Because Bitcoin, the price going up is kind of a benefit to adopting it. But then also people don't get, there's a cost associated with not adopting it, which means, okay, what happens if I'm staying on this fiat system? And I think there could be a great thriller. I'm not good in writing books, but someone feel free to pick that idea up.
Well, like I posted last week, I sat down with our local MP for Simcoe County. His name's Terry Dowdle. He's a conservative. And we sat down and talked. I booked a meeting with him, and that's all he kind of wanted to talk about with me was price. Where do I think price is going? He says, "Oh, I bought some XRP and Ethereum and and I lost my shirt on it. I don't know when to buy it and sell it." And this is a high level politician, right? And I tried to explain to him that Bitcoin isn't for buying and selling. Like I said, if you want to do that, go to the casino, right? That's really gambling. When you're buying and selling something with no knowledge of why it's going up and down in price, you're literally just gambling, right? If you have inside information and you know it's going to go up or down and you're making a calculated bet, then fine. But for anybody that's not like a billionaire or in the know or high level in the financial system, we have no clue on a day-to-day basis what price is going to do. So for me, I'm a dollar cost averager. I told Terry, like, I don't sell it, Terry. I just buy it as like a pension plan. As in my future, when I retire, it will have increased in value enough that it can subsidize my lifestyle, right? It's not a gambling tool to try and bet whether price is going to go up or down. And then, so he wanted to know about mining. So we talked about mining a little bit, and he didn't even realize that the mining was a thing, and that there's a computer-sized machine that does proof of work. It's doing advanced math to try and calculate an answer for the time chain. And if it does get the right answer, it's rewarded with Bitcoin. And that's how new Bitcoins are created in that mechanism there of the ecosystem. And it was really eye-opening to him. He had no clue that you could go to Meme Pool and actually watch the ledger being created one page at a time. Like, these are things that, like, your average person, they don't know about the fundamentals. And that's where I come in. And I said to Terry, Terry, listen, if your aunt or your son comes to you and they want to buy dog poo-poo coin, I said, I'm here for you. You call me, you text me, and I will explain to you, your loved one, why that's a bad financial decision. And he was totally open to it. He's the one that wanted to get the picture with me. He said, the Bitcoin guy. I said, sure, yeah, let's take a picture. That's awesome. And he said that in Ottawa right now, which is our capital, that's where all the politicians, the parliament is, that they've actually created a caucus to start to understand Bitcoin, right? And he said there are a few people in that sphere that do kind of understand a little bit. So I felt good about that, right? That there's some people, and I've looked into the people he's talking about, and they seem like good people. So I can see our government in Canada starting to get interested. They're creating groups to learn about it, right? And then me and Terry, we talked about the auto sector and the economy and how it's not doing as well as he's seen in the past. He says there's like a lull. He can see construction workers getting laid off. The auto industry with the tariffs and stuff is in dismal standing right now. Even myself, I'm in the auto industry. I'm a millwright for an automaker, and I've been laid off all summer. I've been without a job all summer. What has Tommy been doing? I've been golfing. I did a lot of golfing this summer, a lot of camping. But right, our economy is struggling right now, so that's even more reason that we need to opt into Bitcoin. And when I left Terry's office, I feel like he understood Bitcoin a little bit better. It was on his radar, and I hope to set up another meeting with him soon and talk to him. I left him a few books that he should read. It was a really great conversation. It's good to see someone like me getting out of my comfort zone and going and talking to these politicians, because if we don't, like I told him, Terry, there's like maybe 1 in 1,000 people that understand Bitcoin on my level, and they're not going to be in this city. You couldn't go 20 miles and have somebody that understands a node, a miner. So you're very fortunate to have Tommy Boy in your zone, and if you need me, call me.
What do you think is the value of getting to politicians and actually orange pilling them, as they are kind of influencing how we live together?
It's crazy how many people they've told me, if this person buys Bitcoin, I'll buy Bitcoin. If Warren Buffett buys Bitcoin, I'll buy Bitcoin. If Steve Jobs buys Bitcoin, I'll buy Bitcoin. I've literally grown adults telling me that if another adult buys Bitcoin, it'll give it legitimacy and then they will trust, right? So getting to these politicians is, I don't understand who trusts Terry. And if Terry says Bitcoin is good, then a wave of people may come to the ecosystem, right? I think a lot of people, they don't want to be the first one through the door. So they need some leader, some person that they trust to do it first, and then they'll do it. So the benefit of me going to Terry is that he may go to the Ottawa and say to the right person something that I've told him that opens up a whole new world for Bitcoin, right? These politicians, although I don't buy into much politician and stuff, I try and keep my mind on other things more important, but people really value what they say.
It is fascinating, and I've came to know that there is so many group thinking involved in finances, which is fascinating for me. Like, why finance is such an important topic for you and for everyone. Why would you put your opinion just on what someone else did?
Yeah,
Like, this could be a great
it's
indicator.
crazy.
Gary Cadone talked about that, and he said, like, oh yeah, like I saw so many smart people going into Bitcoin. That's why I look deeper. And
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's a good thing. Like, if you see a lot of smart people going into Bitcoin, like, look deeper. There might be something.
yeah,
But just because you see a bunch of smart people buying Bitcoin, that's not a reason to buy Bitcoin. It's a reason to look deeper and study it yourself,
yeah.
and verify it for yourself. With that, you're lucky because it does make sense. But even if it does make sense, maybe you make a mistake. Maybe you aren't prepared to hold Bitcoin yourself. Maybe you lose your Bitcoin. And this is where you have to get educated, because even if you're right in assuming that the other person is right, maybe you're not educated enough to do the thing that the other person does, and like
Hmm.
how to hold Bitcoin, where to buy them, and all those things. So you don't have a choice outside of actually educating yourself. So I don't know. I'm obsessed with why people are just following other people. Like,
Yeah,
it's it's great. Even to it happened to me already a lot, not a lot, but like I wasn't confident. There was someone coming up to me and like, hey Robin, like I have that many assets and that income, like when can I retire on Bitcoin? and I looked at him like I don't know.
Yeah.
like I don't,
Do
maybe
your own
5 years,
research.
like 5 years, 10 years, 50 years. Like I have no clue. And he's like, oh, but these are my expenses. And he's like, oh man, don't give me that much information.
Yeah, people
But
want other people to tell them what to do. It's amazing.
yeah, and like I appreciate that, but in the end of the day, it's your life. Like
Hmm.
you have to look out for your own eggs. Like if you put them in the basket that you trust most, but you have to verify and I don't know. It's trust is a weird thing
Yeah.
with money. It's something that if that gets lost in money, it's also like really quickly gone. You know, like it's quickly gone and very hard to rebuild.
Yeah, we're like a herd of zebra out there. We're just following the crowd, right? And to be honest, that's how I got here. I had one person at work tell me about Ethereum, and here I am, 5 years, 7, 8 years later, on a podcast, a Bitcoin only maximalist, right? Like it's okay, I think, for people to show us the door, but it's as our duty as people to walk through the door and then do your own learning, do your own research, and then you can't blame anybody, right? If you've done the work, there's nobody to blame. And like I said, Bitcoin is proof of work. So if you do not do the work, like you said, you are going to get run over. You need to do like. Could you imagine how much research you've done up to this point, Robin? Like 100 hours, 200 hours, 3, 4. It's crazy to think of how much time we've invested understanding, and other people, they just want to go, oh, what do you think? And then they'll just jump off, right? Like I've had people buy alternate coins on someone else's bad advice, but won't listen to me on Bitcoin and being Bitcoin only, right? It's like crazy. How do you trust your uncle Jeb because he got a tip from Leroy that has no foundation and understanding? They're just on tips and hot information, and you won't listen to me, and I'll preach to you for an hour and teach you exactly what Bitcoin is.
It's funny. I was it was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. I wasn't even on YouTube back then, but I talked to my friends all the time about Bitcoin, and there was a friend that really asked a lot of questions. Oh, like what is that about Bitcoin? What is that about Bitcoin? And we were just 4 people, but it was just me and him talking, so the other person just like listened. And the interesting thing that happened, the other person that listened, he was like, "Oh shit, that's so good, that's so good." And while I was talking with him, he literally grabbed his phone and like played with it. And I was like, okay, he's probably not interested anymore. Uh, and then later he showed me, hey, I just bought Bitcoin. And I'm like,
Wow, that's awesome, man.
it's awesome, but he didn't do any research. Like
No.
I told him then like, okay, that's great. You got your foot in the door, but now
Yeah.
dig deep.
Yep.
Like you will lose your Bitcoin, you will panic sell, you will do whatever
Yeah.
thing. And actually, I have to check back. Well, I haven't checked back with him like since years. I feel like, but he has to do now his research because otherwise he will panic sell, he will lose them, he
Yeah.
will like do whatever, and he has to grow the conviction of Bitcoin. But he was literally like, oh gosh, that sounds so great. Like I'm buying it right now because I get FOMO. I'm like, whenever you have a hurry or stress in Bitcoin or in general with money, like slow down. Like
Yeah.
you're probably being scammed right now.
You're probably making the wrong decision. I had a person in 2021 come to me when Bitcoin had went from 80,000 down to 60,000. He was panicking, and he had heard from someone that it was going to go to 40,000, and he had me help him sell an entire Bitcoin at $60,000. And I still know this person, and they never got that Bitcoin back, and likely they never will, because the price has gone so high that amount, that quantity of Bitcoin is now out of his reach forever, probably. But you had it at one point. You literally were holding the fastest racehorse in all the tracks in all the worlds. And because someone came to you and said, oh, it's going to go down more, you sold the best vehicle for your money that history has ever known. And it haunts me to this day that I partook in selling it for him, but he had no other way. He didn't know how to do it himself. And I try to use that as an example of, like, do not FOMO, because you will regret it. And it'll take off to a point where you will never get it back.
I 100% agree. We talked before, I forgot that almost. We talked before about stablecoins, Ripple and Tether. And I had this weird thing, this idea of like, we already have now CBDCs. Like for me, Ripple, Tether, like all the stable coins are kind of a form of a CBDC already, because they are built on fiat. This is not Bitcoin. This is fiat land. Whole of crypto is either Bitcoin or fiat, and there's like one Bitcoin, and there's like 30,000 fiat tokens, and so this is for me this thing of like, this might just be the CBDC that America has. Like we passed this thing of like, hey, we don't want to have a CBDC, but they do allow XRP and all the other things. They not only allow, they embrace it. The stable coins is such a big thing, and there are some good things about stable coins, because it brings fiat at least like to outside of banking hours and all those things. Like that's in general a good idea, but I dislike fiat. So bringing a thing that I dislike to more people, I don't know if that's a good thing. Probably not. Do you see there's just this play of governments of using this crypto thing, those stable coins, as their CBDC? They don't have to build it, but they can still control it. They can still use it.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. At this point, like if you look, if you lift up one layer on Tether, you'll see that it's like mass corruption. And again, they're printing Tether on a monthly basis, just creating it out of thin air, right? And I think the US government is buying Tether now at this point. So again, it's the same circus, just different monkeys, right? Where like Bitcoin, I try and tell people, like, do you know there's not even a marketing department for Bitcoin? You know how much they spend annually, Bitcoin's marketing department? Zero. So is it number one? I hate the word crypto. Is it the number one crypto asset in the world? Yeah. And it spends $0 on anything, right? It is not a company. It is not, there's no founder. There's a creator, but there's nobody behind the wheel of the ship, where Tether is the exact opposite. You have a group of people that are in cohorts with governments, with banks, with federal agencies, and you have no say over Tether, and they do. They could stop your transaction in a heartbeat if you wanted to, right? So I do believe that these CBDCs will be like the stable coins of the future, right? You see the more and more adoption in that area.
It's super interesting. How do you in general look actually at Trump and his current administration, and the friendliness to Bitcoin?
It's good for the price of Bitcoin. It negatively affect my job. Like I say, I was in the auto industry, so we built cars. Our major market was America. And when Trump said that they were going to tariff cars coming over the border, my company, it halted all production and laid off everybody. So it's hard for me. It's like a double-edged sword. But this is kind of like the fourth churning. This is something that I know that we need to go through. So fortunately for me, I can go find another job, and I have been. I've been doing interviews this week and stuff, and there's plenty of jobs for millwrights out there. So Trump, though, I think he's great for Bitcoin because he doesn't understand it. And so that's really good, because his ignorance, he will just push Bitcoin, right? And he doesn't even realize that he's creating, he's pushing the thing that is going to collapse the system that he's predicated on, right? His whole life has been fiat, right? He makes money off of the fiat printing of money.
That's
So I do like Trump, though. I do like it.
It's an interesting perspective of his life being kind of on fiat and now pushing Bitcoin because he doesn't fully understand it. He kind of undermines that without even knowing. Interesting.
Yeah. It's a Trojan horse, and he doesn't even realize it, right? He's brought that little pony right into the stable, and he's feeding it carrots.
And it's a small pony. Like, if we're super honest, like, that pony is super small compared to the trillions, the hundreds of trillions of dollars of all the other markets and assets. And that's why people underestimate it. And that's the success story of Bitcoin, right? They're like, hey, that's an interesting thing. Oh, I can probably make money out of it. Oh shit, you're feeding the pony. The pony gets bigger. The pony is now a horse, and the horse is getting gigantically big, and it's now so big that nobody can kill it because it duplicates itself and it grows, and there are like thousands and thousands of those ponies now, all in the castle, distributed, and you cannot even find them. So it's a really interesting perspective of like, yeah, the pony is now in the White House and it won't go.
That's it, right? And it's only good for us, right? And we're talking at $120,000 per coin, and we're just starting to get spoken about it in the U.S. government, right? So there's so much room to grow, and people don't understand that like there's no top for Bitcoin. There's no price. People are like, where's it going to go? I have no idea. Eventually it will be 1 million. Eventually it'll be 10 million. It's time that I'm not sure of when it will get there. But when you have a fixed supply asset with a financial system that prints money endlessly, there's no choice but for the price to depreciate up with the money printing, like we spoke about earlier.
It's interesting because I did not intend to do that, but by luck and by interesting coincidences, I ended up being a Bitcoin podcaster. And I will document the most interesting next 10 years of financial history on this channel. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think I was one of your first, one of the first people on your podcast. I've got the pleasure of watching you like explode, right? You've been places that nobody else gets to go to. You've interviewed people that not many people get to. And that's such a blessing, right? And that is a direct result of your adoption of Bitcoin, right? Like that, you owe it all to Bitcoin.
I do. I just look at it. When was our first interview? Yeah, it was on the 6th of January 2024. It came out, so we probably recorded it in 2023, which is crazy. That's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You were, if I counted now correctly, my 11th guest out of like 500, and I don't know, where are we today? 571 guests. So that's crazy for me to think. It's
done well, my friend.
It's amazing. No, oh no,
Go like this. Give yourself a little pat on the back, my friend. You know, it's proof of work, and that's what I like to see in this world is like people do the work and get the rewards.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been an honor. And with all the returning guests, we have a question that I ask each and every one of my returning guests. I don't know if I asked it last time, but I definitely will ask it now.
Okay.
What have you learned outside of Bitcoin since your last appearance?
Well, I've actually golfed. I've learned to golf this summer. I've played over like 70 rounds. I pretty much golf every day up until like I was a golfer my whole life, but I only played maybe a couple times a year. But this year, I've actually kind of dove headfirst into it, and my wife's actually adopted it. And it brought me to a book called Zen Golf, which is I've been reading over the last couple of weeks, and I again, this must be a direct result of the benefits of Bitcoin, because Zen Golf has changed my mindset over the last few weeks. It's allowed me to forgive myself, to make mistakes and be okay with it, and to know that I'm not perfect, but I still am a whole being. I'm still worth love. I'm still worth loving. And if I do the work, I will get the results, right?
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.